All right, this section's about nematodes, Nematoda phylum. Okay. I'm just going to use these pictures, these dissections, instead of ours. I didn't have a chance to take pictures, but they look like this. We'll have some good ones, okay? So Nematoda are roundworms. They are ixozoans, not lophotrichozoans. So basically, they are on the branches next to the arthropods instead of next to the rest of these little guys that we've talked about. So if we look here, you see the Nematoda is on this different clade here than the ones we've been talking about. They are still protostomes, though. They pseudocoelomate, whatever, no circulatory system, but they do have a complete digestive system. They have a mouth and an anus. We're going to see most of their energy is towards reproduction and digestion. And a lot of them are parasites, live in the intestines or the heart. Not all of the nematodes are, though. There's some free-living ones in the soil or in water. But these Ascaris, they're going to be parasites. And so let's look at the parts. So we have males and females, so you'd want to be able to tell those apart. You can tell because of the posterior. So females have a straight posterior, whereas males have a curved tail. They have a curved posterior. So if you see the little curve, that's a male. If you don't see a curve, that's your female. Females also tend to be larger, but you can't really tell that unless you have two next to each other. So really, it's the posterior shape that tells you. You can also look at the insides, but the posterior shape is pretty clear. You also have, let's see, the phylum is Nematoda. The genus is Ascaris. That's what we've been calling this guy. It's the genus it is. And the reproductive structures in here. So we have the flat, which is the intestine. It's a real flat tube. See that here. The esophagus is up at the mouth. So the flat tube is the intestine. The squiggly stuff is all reproductive. I don't think I won't make you identify the different parts, but there are ovaries, oviducts, uterus. The V is the vagina part up here, attaches to an external pore. We have seminal vesicles in the male, testes, the very little stuff. Ducts, like vas deferens ducts. So all the squigglies, that's all reproductive tissue, or reproductive tubes even. 2 uteri in the female. And that's pretty much what I have for the Ascaris. Then we have some other nematodes. So this would be your heartworm. It lives, and this is the one in the dog. So you can see these are non-segmented. See, there's no segmentation. Same here. Those are roundworms. They are nematode phylum. And that's obviously a parasite. And then we have also these trichinella. So you call them trichinella. These are the little guys here, and these are as well. They're nematodes, so they're roundworms. They look funny because this is a section through a muscle tissue. So basically you can imagine if you had, just like on our leeches, not leeches, flukes, if you had a tube and you cut it and you looked at the section of it, it would actually look like a round spot. But really, it's actually was the tube. It was just like something like this and got cut. So here's the meat. So this is muscle, like pork muscle, which is the meat that you eat. And what happens is the infection, the trichinella, embed themselves in the muscle in these cysts. So the round things around the worms, that's a cyst. See, it has empty space in the middle where the little worm larvae lives. So there's your trichinella in here, the cyst around it. All this is muscle tissue. And that's why you need to cook your pork thoroughly. You never have red pork, not like beef where you can have it sort of rarer. you always want to cook your pork because this could be a possibility. If you cook it up enough, all the proteins denature and they are no longer alive, so they can't infect you, make you really ill, live in your intestine. But if you undercook pork, this could be an issue if they have trichinella. And you get what's called trichinosis, and that's going to be a major problem. So no raw or undercooked pork eating. And then I wanted to point out that some nematodes are free-living, like this little guy. Here's its mouth and anus, and you can see its digestive system in here. This one, you can see its eggs developing. Actually, they go in order. Here's a 1-cell, 2-cell, 4-cell, etc. These are lots of cells. And we use them for research, so we know what cells turn into what. It can be very useful to study development. We call them C. elegans or Xenoherditis elegans. C. elegans is way easier. But then not all nematodes are parasitic. These are everywhere in your soil. So that's your roundworms, not crazy amount about them.